community will come together to celebrate Bishop Thomas O'Brien, who passed away Sunday.
Team 12's Jen Walsh, she's live with more on the once extremely influential and then scandalized leader. There's a lot to cover here, Jen.
Yes, there is. Good morning to you both. The bishop will be remembered behind me here at St. Mary's Basilica. He lost his battle to Parkinson's after 82 years, and today he will be remembered after yesterday's visitation. The Mass of Christian burial for Bishop Thomas O'Brien will begin at 10 a.m. this morning, and a reception will follow. He was the head of the Roman Catholic Diocese of Phoenix since the early 80s until the early 2000s. The man was once at the center of a major Catholic controversy after Bishop Thomas O'Brien admitted to covering up sexual abuse and allowing pedophile priests to continue working with children. He then refused to step down. Less than 2 weeks later, O'Brien hit and killed a pedestrian with his car before fleeing the scene. The hit and run leaving O'Brien with the felony conviction and the scandals forcing him to resign back in 2003. He would spend the rest of his life under the radar here in the Valley. Now, after today's Mass, a private entombment for the family will take place in the afternoon. And again, Thomas O'Brien passing away at age 82 after losing his battle with Parkinson's. For now, we're live in Phoenix. Jen Wall, 12 Today.
All right, thanks, Jen.